Hi guys, PJ here. Today we are working on a Fiat Panda 2008 and we're going to be removing the radio from it. Now if you're refitting another radio into this, an aftermarket one, you're going to need a couple of bits. You need a fascia adapter, which is FP0106, made by Autoleads. A couple of other companies make them as well, but this particular one is for a single DIN unit, a standard size radio such as that. Obviously if you want to fit one of the bigger double DIN radios, you're going to need the equivalent one. Now you're probably also going to need an aerial adapter. Again, I've got one here made by Autoleads and I've got PC527H. Now the radio on these is very straightforward to remove, very quick. It can stick a little bit, but other than that it's easy. You need some of these release keys, very commonly sold in most local car accessory shops, or you can get them off Amazon, etc. What you do, pop them in, like so, each side. There we go. And you're going to need both hands, so you're going to pull them apart from each other, so spread them very slightly, yeah, and pull, and the whole lot will come forwards. Like so. So literally pull it forward. Put something to cover your gear knob, because you don't want to scratch top of your gear knob. The radio is metal. Again, with your dashboard, cover that up with some cardboard or some foam. Because obviously your dashboard being plastic, your radio being metal, it is going to scratch. If you pull it forward, like so, and pull it down slightly, the cabling is long enough. On the back here, we have standard ISO connectors with squeezy tabs, so to squeeze each side can be a little tricky, especially one-handed, and it will come out. Yeah, so there's the top one, he says. And there we go. So like I was saying, on the edge, squeezy tabs, yeah? Just squeeze them together and pull. Same with this. Squeezy tabs each side of it, look, you just push them in and pull it out from the corresponding sockets. Okay, your aerial, it's just on a little bayonet fit, so you just pull it. Sometimes you can need to pop it slightly with a little flat blade underneath, look, and just, we've got a tough one here just because it's on video. There we go, that one comes off and you're free to remove your radio. Release keys just pull out from the front of it, and you want to stash it to one side in case you purchase, you know, another car and you want to put it back in at a later date. Now the next thing you're going to have to do is remove the metal frame. So you've got Phillips, or if you like, crosshead screws in each corner. Go ahead and remove all 4 of those. Okay, all 4 removed from the edge of the cage. You've now got an Allen key bolt right down here to remove. So just grab something that'll get down there. This is actually a TX driver I'm using, not an Allen key, but it does the job. It's a big TX30. Careful it doesn't drop down behind the dashboard and forever rattle as you're driving along. You might want to put a bit of tape on the end of your screwdriver or use a magnetic one, either of which will do. So with the bolt removed from down below there, just pull the cage forward, just watch the bolt doesn't fall out of the hole if you've not already removed it. And what I tend to do is slide the cage back onto the original radio for safekeeping. Moving on to the fuse box of the vehicle, we've ascertained that the third fuse down the little 10 amp there is an ignition switch, so it goes on and off with the ignition. We will need to power from that to make the radio go off when we take the key out. For that, we're using a fuse spur, one of these little things. It basically doubles up the socket, so you've got a power cable coming off there. So you're going to run a power cable from the fuse box up through the dashboard and out where the radio is. And so with our power cable all finished, we've got it plugged in there, the slot, and the power cable goes up, routes across, and goes all the way to the top of the dash. Comes out the back here, yeah? And this is going to be your power for your radio, so that basically it goes off when you take the key out. I will point out at this stage, if any of this phases you in the slightest, really you should go and seek professional advice. Go and pay a company to do it. At the end of the day, if they damage your car, they're insured, it gets repaired. Likewise, you've got to watch personal injury for yourself, and any damage to your vehicle you'd have to pay out for. I've got to say at this point, I'm not liable for any damage or injury occurred to yourself by following this video guide. Do so at your own risk. Okay, now that's out of the way because I have to put that in nowadays. Going back to the fuse box, you may want to use a multimeter or one of those little test screwdrivers with the light in them, so you can touch the end of the fuse and see if it lights up when the ignition is on. Yeah, you want it to not light up or not show any voltage when the ignition is off. Now, depending on spec and model, you may use a different fuse to the one I've used. I've used the accessory circuit one, like I showed you, a 10 amp. I think it's about a third from the top down. So what we're going to do now is connect this to the wiring loom of the radio itself and start fitting all the fascia. Now the fascia on these has got little lugs, look, plastic lugs, and they come with clips that you have to slide on. So you sort of slide them over the top so they've got a clip. They're not a very good system in all honesty, and they can pop loose. So we're going to do that now and then put the fascia in the hole. And there we go, that's with the clips all pushed on all the way around. Now if, like me, you get some clips that are too spaced out, you will actually have to give them a nip with some pliers to squeeze them together, otherwise they sort of fall off. Once you've done that, feel free to push your fascia home and into the hole. So there's our fascia loosely clicked in. Now these can be quite tricky to get clicked in. They do bend and buckle and you do have to give them a bit of a tap to get them in. Okay, they're not the best fit in the world, but they do the job. So our power cable is plugged into the cable that comes with the radio. This is your radio cable. It's actually in the box with the radio. We plug both of our blocks into the corresponding vehicle blocks. And our power cable, as you can see there, I put a bullet connector on the end of it and clicked it into the power feed of the radio. Once we've tested everything, we're going to electrical tape over all that. Do not be tempted to cut the wires and twist them together. I've seen it 1,000 times and I have seen a car fire because of such an incident. Don't do it. Golden rule, do it properly. Solder it, bullet connector it, make sure it's insulated. Right, now you're going to have with your radio a cage attached to it. You need to pull the cage off like so. Careful, the edges are razor sharp on them, especially the cheaper ones that you buy off eBay and stuff. They are literally a nightmare. This one being a Pioneer, not too bad. Now basically you're just going to slide that into the gap there, go straight in there, and you're going to need your aerial adapter, this little thing that I showed you earlier on. All this does is click into the end of the cable coming out of the dashboard. And there we go. There's your little aerial adapter plugged in the end. It just click fits, just shove it together. And then we've got our cage in. What we're going to do is bend some of the little tabs there behind it, behind the fascia, so that it stays in place. Once you've done a few all the way around it, just do like 4 or 5, you're then free to plug your radio in and test it. So with our radio loosely hanging in the dashboard there, not fully clicked in by any means, turn your ignition on, make sure your radio comes on. And what we're going to do is program a preset radio station onto one of the numbers here and basically make sure it stores it when you turn the ignition off. If it does store it, all well and good. You can pull your radio back out again, tape all your wiring up, make it all nice and neat and tidy, and then put your radio back in and click it fully home. Okay, now obviously, where are we? Let's just set the time on this thing. There we go. Obviously, if your radio is not storing the stations, you're going to have to switch the yellow and red wire round on the back of the radio. Now the loom that comes with the radio has bullet connectors on it. You can just literally unplug them and switch them around so that yellow goes to red and red goes to yellow. Right, that's on. We're going to program our radio station right now. He says. There we go, so we've programmed a preset onto number 1. Let's turn the ignition off now and see if it stays put. Ignition back on again after we've switched it off and counted to 10. Radio preset is stored. That is now correct. And you can go ahead and pop your stereo back into the hole once you've tidied up your cable in. So with radio in, we've put it in the lower slot here. You can put it in the higher one if you want, but with all our wonderful potholes, when your car hits a hole, the radio tends to sort of bounce because there's nothing to hold it at the back there on this particular vehicle. So if you put it on the lower one, it can't really go anywhere. Then you've got your little plastic trim that comes with it. Now leave that out because when you put your radio in, it's ideal for grabbing hold of the cables and just pulling them up so that you can nice and snugly put your radio in without trapping anything behind it. This trim, quite literally, it just clicks in. It's not rocket science, you know, it goes in like so. And like I say, they can fit very poorly. They are very cheaply made, so. Right, and that concludes how to fit a radio on this car. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye for now.